All right, and we here on another episode of the Stir the Pot podcast. We here with a special guest. Let people know who we here with.
Lisa Holland, President and CEO of Sheltair Aviation.
And I'm Todd Anderson. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Sheltair Aviation.
That's amazing. So how did you get into the aviation world?
So back in the day, my father was, he did real estate, both commercial and residential, but he was always a trailblazer, and everyone knew that about him. He was always open-minded to do new ventures. So an acquaintance of his took him out to Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport and showed him a bunch of airplane hangars. And at that time, my dad really wasn't familiar with airplane hangars. And this gentleman wanted to sell them, and my father, being the visionary that he was at the time, looked at hangars and airport property like real estate property. There's only so much of it.
Yes.
And once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
So he was immediately attracted to that vibe and like the sexiness of airplanes and airports and airplane hangars, and that's how he got in the business.
Wow, that's amazing. And that's definitely where you said like being a trailblazer, to where back in before it was like so cool, or the private planes and different things like that, like it is now, seeing the vision and say, okay, I'm gonna take this situation and
Yeah, because this was 30 years ago.
yes.
So it was long before the influencers and everybody taking pictures of airplanes, and it was all cool.
Yes. Okay, and then so now fast forward time, you are now the president and the COO of the company. So like even like coming through with your dad, seeing him building the brand and the business to what it is, where you like kind of know like, okay, this is something I'm always going to kind of go with, or just kind of okay.
That was not the case at all. It was very different. I raised my son. I always had several small businesses that I worked at, and then I was always involved in the business, kind of way behind the scenes. Like I understood what we did. I was involved, but not like every day or the face of the company. And then about 10 years ago, it was kind of approached to me like, your father's getting a little older. You should really think about jumping in. So I was like, all right. Said I can do it part-time. Well, that lasted about a month. I wasn't groomed for the role at all. Didn't come up through the ranks. So the first thing I did was I went out to every one of our FBOs, met with the GM, said, teach me, tell me everything you know, because each of our properties is very unique.
Yeah.
No two are the same.
Okay.
And so learned everything. I even did QC and fuel truck.
Wow. Yes.
Learning. I was on top of the fuel truck just to get a good overview. And then kind of halfway during that, I met with Todd one day. We were actually in Daytona, and I used to bring my big gray binder around, and Todd and I sat together, and he had been with the company at that time for like 17 years.
Okay.
And he had taken the company from 2 FBOs to where we're at now.
Wow.
And I think Todd saw a spark in my eye that I wasn't here just as like a trophy or as the boss's daughter.
Yeah.
I was here to learn and make a difference. So Todd took me under his wings, and I always say Todd's the one that gave me my wings to fly.
That's amazing. So
It makes me feel good.
yeah. And also too, from you obviously are amazing and great at your job, from 2 to where you guys are at now. What about you? How did you get into the aviation real estate world?
This is really interesting. I actually, my first day on an airport, I went to work with my dad. My dad worked on the airport in upstate New York, and I was hooked. And every chance I could, after kindergarten, first grade, second grade, every opportunity I had to be out there with my dad around airplanes. It was very, I just fell in love with it.
Yeah.
And So my first job I had, believe it or not, was working with my dad washing airplanes.
Wow.
So I
Okay.
started in my early days. I started washing airplanes. I stayed on the airport. I ended up at 16 at the time. I was able to work in a FBO type operation,
Okay.
and I used to fuel airplanes and do all that. And then I wanted more. I wanted to learn to fly.
Mm-hmm.
I saved up money, and I went to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University
yes.
in Daytona.
Mm-hmm.
And from Daytona, I graduated. I did learn to fly, but then I realized I needed something a little bit more exciting. Okay,
Yeah.
it was just at the time I accomplished my goal. I wanted to learn to fly, but I did not want to be like a professional airline pilot. I did not want to be in a cockpit all day. I wanted to be out and about. I wanted to be with people. I wanted to build things.
Yes.
I needed some excitement. So from graduation, I took a job over in Sarasota. I cut my teeth in the airport environment world. From Sarasota, believe it or not, I ended up coming over working for the airport authority here at Goa, doing the real estate and operations for both the international airport and here.
Mm-hmm.
I met Jerry Holland. He was
Okay.
up here wanting to put together a real estate deal. That's how I met Jerry, and the rest is history. I've been with the company going on 26 years now.
26 years
Wow,
next
that
week.
is amazing.
26 years, and I executed on Jerry's vision,
Mm-hmm.
and that was he wanted to grow the company. He wanted as much land that we can so we can have long-term growth,
Yeah.
and that has all been in play for years now, and obviously very, very successful.
Hey, that is
So you can
amazing.
see, like, we both have two very
Mhm.
unique paths,
Yes.
but we make a really good team.
Yes. And then also too, what I'm definitely hearing is I'm hearing from your dad having you around planes, and then of course your dad type of situation where it shows like really legacy and how you can put so much into kids and not knowing long term what it's going to be. Something like how with your foundation, with the Girls in Aviation, how many kids you guys are impacting probably without knowing or not really knowing have long term. How did that come about when you wanted to start the Girls in Aviation?
So when I took over as president in my role, just before COVID in 2020, once we came out of that, one of my big passions has always been giving back,
Mhm.
even before this. So once I took over, I tried to instill that into each of our teams. You know, during the holidays, we would encourage every FBO, like, pick a charity,
Mm-hmm.
you know, give back. And then one of the girls that was working for us in Tampa as a CSR, she was involved with Women in Aviation, and she had approached us and asked if she could do Girls in Aviation Day in our hangar.
Mm.
And I said, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So that was September of 2020. We had one of the only in-person Girls in Aviation Days that year, and we started with 150 kids. Last year, now it's a network-wide event, we had over 10,000 participants.
Congrats, that's amazing.
So that's like
amazing.
my huge initiative.
Yes.
Now it's like everyone's behind the mission, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just so impactful to see like the awe and excitement in kids' eyes when they get to see an airplane.
Yes.
Because
yes.
a lot of these children that come to this event, you know, some of them have never flown commercial. They've
Yes.
never been to MCO or
Mhm.
Tampa. So for them to like be able to get up close to like a private airplane and peek inside or talk to a pilot or an
Mhm.
astronaut, it just gives them so many hopes and inspiration. It really opens their eyes to a
Mhm.
world that they've never known.
I only can imagine, especially like in a lot of different communities, it's only certain things that people feel like they can be. They feel like they can play sports, or they can be a musician, or different things like that. But when kids see like planes or different things like that, or like, you know what, I can be this, and now they got their iPads and they do their own research.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's a big explosion. So I bet how from 150 to 10,000 kids and so many more that's going to want to join. That is amazing for sure.
And there's just so many facets in aviation. And like Todd started out saying, you know, he wanted to learn to fly. I think people feel like the only role in aviation is to be a pilot, but like I said, you can be an astronaut. You can, you know,
Be a mechanic.
Right.
Yes.
You
COO,
can-
like, you know, engineers, engineering the ramps.
Yes.
I mean, there's just so many opportunities. If you're into cooking, airline catering is huge. There's just so many different ways that you can get involved that I think people just aren't even aware of.
Yes. Yes. So what are probably like some steps from kids or even adults or etc. to probably like, all right, these are the proper things to go through or channels?
I mean, I always encourage people, like, if you're curious about the business, you know, take self-initiative and just ask, you know, reach out, because there's always somebody that wants to teach you and tell you about their job, and just stay curious.
Yes.
Because I think, like, if you ask, like, we're always happy, just like we're going to host, you know, the kids from your foundation.
Yes.
We're always
definitely
happy
forward
to show
that.
people behind the scenes of what we do.
Yes. That's really cool. Boss man, so what about how do you feel like that? What do you think would probably be like the best steps or something?
Well,
or
I think what Lisa said is there's so many facets of aviation,
Mhm.
right? There's so many jobs out there. There's so many great careers out there.
Mhm.
I've been in it. That's all I live and breathe aviation.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, there's still a little bit of a stigma with when people think of, when we define what we tell people what our job is in private aviation, not a lot of people understand that.
Yes.
People think, oh, you work for one of the airlines, or you know, down at the big airport. Oh, that's the sexy stuff. That's the stuff that everybody sees. The reality is there is so much that goes on behind the scenes on the smaller airports. In private aviation is not just about the corporate aircraft. It's not about people that have, you know, these big jets, these expensive jets. You have emergency services that is conducted here. We have planes that come through with medical organs and donors and organs. Air ambulance. There's flight training that goes on here. There's a lot of people that have worked for Sheltair over the years that started out pumping gas out here on the tarmac, but actually have really inspired to be a pilot, and they've worked, and some of them are actually pilots today.
Yes.
Everybody starts somewhere, and there's great entry level opportunities for someone, you know, right out of high school.
Yeah.
And some areas you don't even need to have, you know, the advanced education. You can get yourself started. A lot of companies pay eventually for education, but it gets you a good start.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I know you guys have, just through the years, met a lot of amazing, cool people. So, you know, for like the fun part of things, and not really the kind of like where like numbered. So if you was like probably maybe top of your head, maybe 3 people you like, you know what, like that was a cool person I met, or wow, you know, is there any kind of people you think about that you probably like you tell a story like from like even like the president or athlete, or you're like, wow, okay.
So my big one would probably be Tom Cruise.
Wow, okay.
Can't say
Yeah.
like I was a huge Tom Cruise fan, but
Yes.
he was in Tampa one day. He actually flies in and out of there a lot. Sometimes he flies his own plane, sometimes he doesn't. One day he was out on the ramp with our GM and came into the lobby, and there really wasn't many people, really nobody around that day. Just totally on his own, jeans and sneakers, a polo shirt on, just very nonchalant, says hi to everybody, just very down to earth, and I was really surprised.
Yeah.
And it was like a really great takeaway that, you know, he's like one of the #1
For sure.
entertainers, but he was just a regular person. And I know every year at Christmas he usually drops off a cake or cookies to our team.
That's so cool. That's so cool. What about you?
Oh, I got a bunch. I tell you that the best one was Shaquille O'Neal.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
Shaquille O'Neal would come through here with his family. Obviously, when he played for Orlando Magic, I watched him from day one outside the draft and everything that he's done. But he uses, you know, private aviation pretty frequently. But when he lived here in Orlando and he did a lot of travel, he was a regular here, you know, first name basis.
Yes.
I was there one day and he was there, and one of my kids was with me, and I went over to him and I said, Mr. O'Neal, I said, my son would like to say hi to you.
Yeah.
And he stepped down off the plane, he turned around and started talking to him. He said, what are you doing here? He said, well, I'm going to go up. He said, I'm going to go up for a plane ride because I want to be a pilot. And Shaquille looked at him. He said, "That's a good choice."
Yeah.
And he said, "But be careful up there." And he turned around, but there's this big person.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. It really just wowed my son that day. But he was very personable, super guy. Everybody knew him. People, gave him his privacy, what he wanted, but he was just really fit in with everyone. He used to sit behind our counter sometimes with the girls at our customer service desk and just always joke and just a real person.
Yeah.
So yeah, Shaquille's big impact, and then politically it was always the Bush family.
Okay.
All the way, they were phenomenal people traveling through here, very genuine, always took care of our employees, but that's another family that we were close to here too.
And another segment too, like we have an FBO in Daytona.
Okay.
So during the Daytona 500, we handle all the race crews and drivers. And when my son was young, we always used to go to the races, and all the kids afterwards would line up with their hats and their shirts and their Sharpies.
Yes.
All the NASCAR drivers were always very, very nice. Even after driving, 500 miles trying to get to their plane, they would take time to stop and talk to the kids and give them their autograph.
Yeah.
So they were always
to
really
the NASCAR drivers.
Yeah, they were always really good.
Yeah, I mean, we were in the lobby. We had some bad weather one day. All the planes were delayed. The lobby was filling up, and this gentleman came up to me and he said, "Hey," he said, I just wondering if I can have a private place that I can make some phone calls." And I said, "Sure." And as I'm walking him up to my office, I could see people looking at me going, and I would, again, you see people on TV and then you see people in real life. Sometimes they look a little different. And I put them in my office and everybody was like, "Do you know who that is?" And I'm like, "No." I said, "Some guy just needed to make a phone call." They said, "That's Jimmy Buffett." I'm obviously not a big Jimmy Buffett fan at the time, but I didn't. Then I started putting two and two together. We didn't really have the cell phones. He was using my phone. On the way out, he said, "Hey," he goes, I left you something on your desk calendar." And he signed, "Thank you, Jimmy Buffett." I was like,
wow.
That's pretty cool.
That's really cool.
I had Jimmy Buffett in my office.
Well, who can just say, Jimmy Buffett signed it. Yeah.
But,
you're dating yourself if we didn't.
Yeah, I am dating myself. Yep.
Yeah. So I always like to ask, we do like a lot of foodie type of situations. Is there any like restaurants that you guys like to go to, or you know what I'm saying, or like places like, hey, I like their food, or what I'm saying, somebody come in town and let's say Jimmy Buffett come in town and say, "Hey, you know what, I'm hungry. What restaurants would you recommend to them?"
Well, I'll take Tampa since I
Yes.
live in Tampa. I would say Burns Steakhouse.
Okay.
I mean, it's iconic. That's where we do our Christmas celebration every year, me and my team. And it's just been there for years. Same decor, but also really good food.
Yes. Yeah.
And very, if you're into wine, it has a huge wine cellar. You can take a tour. And then, of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up the dessert room.
Yeah, my I would go a little bit more casual than Burns, but sometimes people are around here. I like Johnny's Other Side off of Michigan. Okay. Still open air, locally owned. And then if it's not that, I like to go down to Vanbury's, another open air. You can bring your pets, very locally owned. Everybody kind of knows everybody there. So I'm a little bit more casual when I go out. But I do go to Burns once in a while when she takes me. Yeah. And she pays for it too.
I would go once a year.
We do celebrate our holiday, and our annual. Lisa does take care of, taking us out, recognizing everything that we've done for the year. So
yes.
We do go to Burns.
Yes.
I do like their dessert room, by the way.
That part, yes, sir.
Yeah.
So I know you have to we get going. So one more thing before we get going, with the Girls in Aviation thing, how can people sign up or bring their kids, or like how would that go?
So it's every year, it's the third Saturday in September. This year it's September 19th.
Okay.
And we will be hosting an event specifically at our airport here. And Susie, who you've been dealing with,
yes,
she's going to be the lead on it.
Okay.
So we will let you know. And there's an event sign up, Eventbrite, that you can sign up. But like I said, we'll also be hosting it Tampa, Daytona has a big one, Melbourne, all across our network.
That's amazing.
And we're going to have shout outs on social media and whatnot, so you can follow along.
I definitely want to say thank you for both of you guys for taking time out of you guys' busy schedule. Yeah, we got to go. We thank you guys, and that's another episode of Stir the Pot Podcast. Your boy Alfred Chapman, and we out.
Thank you.
It was great. Thank you.
Thank you.
I had texted Susie.